Basically, Winter Place was born out of the need to meet the expectations of other, mostly competition. It was born out of a company called Jami Consulting Limited that was solely responsible for the supply installation of air conditioning. Whilst we did the supply and installation of air conditioning, we realized that there were other parts of the business that needed support. The ventilation aspect, the home appliances, the kitchen aspect, the solar aspect. So we decided that we should integrate them in a place so that it becomes a one-stop shop for the central air conditioning, the home appliances, the solar solutions, and the kitchen solutions. So that's what brought Winter Place. Honestly, I can say that it was more instinctive than any other thing. Prior to my delving into the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry, I had tried branding just when I left the university. I realized that was not my space. And so I had to go within. Being a mechanical engineer, I went back to the books and I found out that the central air conditioning space under the mechanical engineering field was largely untapped, one. And two, there were a lot of companies already existing that had overpriced solutions. We had a company called Jami Consulting Limited that we formed, and it became one of the hubs for installation, where we partner with major manufacturers of the air conditioning products to install their products. That was basically what made us to start the Winter Place, after we realized that we had a lot of needs. We had a lot of solutions that we could offer the public. Winter Place is the only central air conditioning showroom in Nigeria that has multi-brands. Usually what we see is air conditioning showrooms that have either one brand, either single branded air conditioning showroom. But what we thought about is to have a place where somebody can come and have different options of the same central air conditioning. So you can hear the pros and cons of product A in comparison with product B. So you can make an informed decision. We don't just have only the central air conditioning system. We also have options for your ventilation system, options for your kitchen, options for your solar pumps, for your solar freezers, for your solar air conditioners. So basically, we just try to ensure that we are like an ecosystem for energy-saving products, basically. Once we got into this industry, the first thing we did was to do a massive training for the end users, the technicians, and the engineers. So why that was necessary was because we are coming to a space that was wildly polarized. We had a lot of people that had different ideas about the same thing, and we are coming with a new product. As at 2011, when I came into this space, we had the VRF, called the Variable Refrigerant Flow, that was quite new in Nigeria. And so because it was new, a lot of people were scared to venture to use those products. So we had to embark on massive trainings and retraining. We had to get the manufacturers to come on ground and talk to the technicians about what they are supposed to do to ensure that the installation is done properly, and what the end users are supposed to look out for when they are using these products, and what the maintenance of these systems are supposed to be like. So with those trainings, most of the people that were interested at that time got involved and became professionals, so to say. Right now, 15 years down the line, I look back and I see a lot of people that we trained becoming experts, having their own companies and starting their own installation firms, and it gives me a lot of joy to know that this our investments was not just wasted. As for quacks, always in industry, anywhere that there is money to be made, you see a lot of fake people coming around. You see a lot of fake products. We just try to encourage the end users, the clients, that they should go through verifiable channels. That's another reason why we had to open the showroom, so that you could come physically, look at the products, understand how they work, how they operate, and then get referral as to who can install, who can supervise, who can maintain, and who can commission these products. Obviously with the manufacturer's guidance and assistance. So basically, because I'm a professional, I believe that clients should patronize professionals, so they don't run into situations where they find themselves wanting. As a matter of fact, there was a project that I was just called up on 2 days ago, where a technician installed over 120 air conditioners for a client and did not use ducting. So what that meant was that all the installation that was done had the ceiling void was getting cold, while they were supposed to be cooling, was hot. The owner of the hotel called me a few days ago to come and check, and I was amazed to see that this kind of thing is happening in 2026. You cannot run away from this kind of situation, especially when you don't go through the right ways to engage the right people to handle your projects. We should just ensure that we try to use professionals, so that we don't run into problems that will make us spending twice the amount you're supposed to spend initially. Nigeria is a very difficult terrain. All of us know that. The best of companies come to Nigeria and they become frustrated at the peculiarity that is in Nigeria. Fortunately, I've been privileged to handle a couple of projects outside Nigeria. So I've seen projects that are well coordinated. There's a particular project of note that I talk about all the time. It was handled by the American International School, where the client made a payment and gave we the vendors over 6 months to procure the items. Everything was on ground before we started the work. What we see in Nigeria normally is a situation where every customer wants to pay today, and he expects that by tomorrow morning the work is completed. Unfortunately for the industry, we have very low stocking power. What I mean by stocking power is, because of the volumes and the sizes and the prices of the equipment, most people don't stock them. Very few people stock them. So you have situations where somebody needs an AC immediately and you just have to start producing it with the factory. So that means that no matter how urgently you need it, it will take a minimum of 4 to 6 months to arrive site. It's a challenge, again, because of the kind of country we find ourselves. There's lack of trust, there's a lot of scam, there is no credit facility. There's so many, it's a lot. There's a lot of intertwined issues. But basically, what we advise clients is start your planning for your projects on time, especially for the long lead items. Make sure you start procuring them before you need them. So give yourself 6 to 8 months for procurement, so that everything is on ground before you start your project. Then another major issue we have again is funding. They have a lot of recycling projects, and midway they stop it or they pause, or there's a funding issue, and then it's I have a site that we started in 2022. This is 4 years, and we've not been able to come out because the site conditions, the funding, everything is just slow, and you keep running. You have running costs anyways. So these are issues that are peculiar with Nigeria. In most civilized in the civilized part of the world, you hardly have situations where people want a product now and they get it today. With countries like China, you have to wait for production. You give them your specifications, they produce according to your specifications, and they deliver to your site. It takes time anywhere in the world. So I think just proper planning is the way around these issues. Unfortunately, again, for us in Nigeria, we don't produce anything in Nigeria. So we have to go to different parts of the world for the minutest of products. Like I said earlier, shipping takes between 4 to 6 months because it takes time to produce, it takes time to process before shipping, and then it ships, it comes to the port. There's the issue around the ports being congested, there's a clearing issue, it's a lot. So, but one thing we've done is that we've tried again to employ the professionals. So we have the manufacturers that we deal with directly. Once they're done with the production, we have the shipping agents, the professional shipping agents that go pick up the items and ship down for us. We've had a lot of shipping coming successfully. One or two that lingered, maybe because of policies at the port or issues with paperwork. But generally, over 95% of our shipment comes in as at when due. The major challenges we have is that most times you have a projection and then it comes to the Nigerian ports and they tell you, oh, the clearing has increased by 20%, or there's a congestion at the port, or minor issues. But basically, we try to ensure that we don't allow such issues affect our clients and our projects. In the last 2 months, I have been discussing with a couple of other professionals in the industry, the electrical, the mechanical, and the other skilled industry. We're trying to put together a training school for technicians. Personally, I have realized that if you can train a technician, you have put food on his community. Because one technician per community, it's a formula that works anywhere in the world. Unfortunately for us, again in Nigeria, we have abandoned the technical schools and the skill acquisition centers. But we want to go back through that route, because even as an organization, we have a lot of issues getting skilled labor. The few you get are either ill-mannered or don't have the courtesy required for the kind of clientele we are servicing. So what we have decided to do is that within the next 6 months, we're going to set up a school. It's going to be a training school. It's going to bring people from posts, either secondary school or university, put them in a class, train them on etiquette, train them on manners, train them on attitude, train them on the job, train them on the particular skill, and then push them out to the marketplace. We are working with the relevant government agencies to ensure that this is successful. All the companies that are around Winterplace, including Winterplace, are updated in terms of tax. We are trying to be law abiding, even though we don't get so much support from the government to which we pay the tax. I had expected that as a small and medium scale organization as we have, we should be able to have access to funding, we should have access to grants to be able to ensure that we we are able to get more people into the team. We have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of expectations. Currently, we have over 55 staff working in the organization, and everybody pays their personal income tax, everybody pays um, their pension, everybody pays. So there's a whole lot of payment that goes to government from this organization. Unfortunately, we don't have any form of support from the government, as it were. So we have to be self-funded. We have to provide our power. We have to provide our everything, security, everything. Major challenge currently now is funding. Funding because there's a lot we can do if we are properly funded. There are lots of products that we don't need to travel to Dubai or Turkey or China to purchase that can be produced locally. We're already in talks with back of industry to see if we can start up a, a line, a factory line that can produce what we call pre-insulated ducts. It's one material that we use a lot and it's easy to produce. So we are trying to see how to reduce the dependence on the international other countries for basic things that we will need in our country. So I mean, practically, if we can get funding, it will help us in production and reproduction. So we increase our staff strength, reduce unemployment. It's just a whole value chain. So I really wish that there's a way that the gap of funding can be sorted so that it will help not just my organization, but a lot of organizations like us to drive the economy. Interestingly, I've been trying to get a bill across to the Federal House of Assembly, a bill to ensure that at least hospitals have clean air in their theaters. What happens now, as it were, is that a lot of hospitals do not see the need to ensure that the air that is coming into the theater where they open up and operate people, is clean. And again, it's in Nigeria because we don't really our enforcements are not really done properly. Every other place in the world I've been to, where there's a theater or an industry or a place that requires clean air, the government ensures that this is put in place. Not just put in place, it's monitored on a regular basis to ensure that the percentage of bad air is maintained at 0%. It involves the machineries, the filtering, the fresh air systems. It's a lot, but because we don't have such policies or regulatory agencies in Nigeria, you find out that you go in to the hospital with malaria and then you come back with typhoid because you give somebody else your malaria and then the person gave you typhoid because all of you are going to the same theaters that are without any form of. So it's something that is really pressing on me. I have a couple of friends in the house and I've mentioned to them maybe before the next 3 months I should be able to sort out that bill and present it to the house at a hearing so that it can be read out and maybe adopted, hopefully. Apart from that, there are a lot of, like you mentioned, quacks in the industry. We expect bodies like Koren, like NSC, like ASHRAE to be able to weed out the grain from the chaff so that we know exactly people that are professionals and we know people that are not yet professionals. Somebody cannot just, because he went to a site, and he has helmet, start calling himself an engineer or a professional. All those kind of all those kind of habits are what makes customers lose trust in the space. That's why I see a lot of Nigerians, once they have more money, they go and look for a European or a Lebanese to come and come and do the work, even though we know better than them. Is because there is no proper differentiation between who knows what. Everyone can come and say, and there's nobody to verify. I was in Rwanda recently, and in Rwanda, for you to be a barman or a service person, for you to be able to serve in a restaurant, you must have a certificate approved by the government that shows that you have gone to the school of hospitality. So if you're not certified, you cannot work in a restaurant, as minute as being a waiter is. And so if we can get such certifications that ensure that people must be seen to be certified before they can get involved, especially in technical aspects, it will help us a lot. A lot. You know that in Nigeria it's difficult to trust the government agencies. It's really difficult to trust them because over the years we've seen the instability in government, in governance, in outputs, in policies. So honestly, except we judge them based on who is on the seat at the moment, we really cannot say that we everywhere, starting from the presidency, we're not sure of whether the policies they're bringing out are tested, whether their methods are tested. So it's difficult. It's honestly difficult to trust these agencies. Like for example, we have a standards organization of Nigeria that should be able to ensure that whatever comes to Nigeria is quality. But it's a lot of fake things all over the whole place. So here there is smuggled stuff into the country without checks. It's really a difficult situation. But we just hope and pray that the clients that we serve will not fall victim of such situations. And so we encourage them to come to us, especially because we have direct conversations with manufacturers so they don't fall victims. Winterplace was actually founded in 2014. And the concept that Winterplace has is to ensure that we stand as a bridge between the end users and the manufacturers. That was just basically the concept behind it. And in doing that, we were able to set up a showroom that has most of the major brands represented here. If you go into the showroom, you see staff of Panasonic, staff of Daikin, staff of Hitachi. We have different staffs that are being paid by the manufacturers directly, standing here and answering your questions regarding their particular brand. This is important so that you as the end user is able to ensure that what you're getting is the right product, you're getting the right product, you're getting the right technology, you're getting them at the right prices, you're getting them from the right people. Sometimes we have to even connect the end users to the manufacturers directly in special conditions. But generally, we are responsible for your warranties, your product deliveries, your commissioning, and even installation. Currently, we have a few investors that over the years have benefited from our profit sharing and commissions, as the case might be. So we want to encourage like I said earlier, our major issue currently is funding, because the scope we have is far bigger than where we are now. Where we are looking at and where we are looks like light years apart. So we encourage people that have funds that are willing to invest to come in. will have huge turnovers on your investments. I can assure you.
Winter Place, I would say that the journey so far it has not been easy, but we thank God we're pushing it and also making people to know more about some items that have not really been into the market or have not been popular for customers. So Winter Place is your shop log for those items so far, and like the central cooling system and our ventilation. So, and secondly, there's one thing that helps us in our sales is our after sales services. We don't just sell and leave you, we sell and also follow up. When you have your customers complain, we follow up immediately and we deliver it promptly. So the sales so far has been, though we're still not there yet, but we'll say that so far so good, we're pushing it and we'll get there. I advise customers to come enjoy the pocket friendly and also the top brand products that we have.
We deal with different kinds of ACs. We have the Carrier, we have the Hisense. Home appliances ranges from the dishwasher, gas cooker, refrigerator. If you're thinking of where to get original, authentic Bosch units, this is where you can come get yours. And then we have extractor hood for your kitchen. All of this